Hello everyone, my name is Tanay and today we are going to discuss religion, majoritarianism and how the BJP came into power. But first we need to understand why people are so religious. Religion plays a big role in a person's life. It gives them identity and it gives them unity where they can meet like-minded people. Religion gives you a certain discipline in life and also a moral compass which otherwise you wouldn't have had. All religions tell you how to live your life, then they give you prayers, then they give you scriptures to read, they give you rituals to follow. So all this gives a certain direction and some meaning in life. Then it also gives you sense of security and forgiveness. Like when you are in a problem, it gives you some moral support that someone is there, something is there which is going to protect me. Or if you commit some blunder, then you can go and ask for forgiveness. Then having faith in something which is beyond your understanding has a lot of benefits. Like it keeps your morale high, then it keeps you positive in life, which otherwise probably you wouldn't have been. And to a great extent, it helps you in your mental health too. A British psychologist, John Bowlby, demonstrated the influence of attachments on children's emotional and social development. It showed maternal deprivation where the mother is non-responsive, absent for long spans of time during the first 2 years of the child's life had negative consequences on the child, like declining intelligence, depression, aggression, delinquency, and affectionless psychopathy. We continue to rely on these emotions when we are falling in love or making new friends. And they are very essential. These attachments are very essential in one's life. And these attachments can be transferable to religion too, where these attachments to religion can help you with your certain kind of problems which you have. Then another study showed that social unity and rituals alters brain chemistry. A study conducted by D.F. Schwab on Japanese monks and Carmelite nuns in which they were observing their brain. They were asked to recall their religious and godly experiences. They observed increased levels of serotonin, dopamine and oxytocin in the brain. These all chemicals make you feel really good and it makes you want to do things again and again. So all this makes religion very personal to oneself, where you are getting that much moral support, that much positivity, which otherwise probably you wouldn't have got. Another study conducted by Pew Research showed that religious people are happier than normal people. So all this is a good thing, right? When people are benefiting, people are happy, why should you have a problem with it? Obviously, you shouldn't have a problem with it because it's benefiting the people, it's keeping them going in life. The problem lies is when you get extreme with it and then you sprinkle some politics peddled with fake news, and that's the fuel to the fire. We'll get back to that in a bit, but first let's understand what is majoritarianism. Majoritarianism is basically appealing to the majority of a country. Suppose India. India is a Hindu majority country with more than 80% of the population being Hindus. So usually parties don't reflect the majority view. Then a certain party comes and they reflect the majority view. So a lot of votes start going to the party which is reflecting the majority view. Now, since we have established how religion is so close to one's life and how personal it is, let's see how politics exploits it and how BJP grew using this. Let's start with the British divide and rule in the first place. The British by the start of the 19th century sowed the seeds of Mandir Masjid disputes. They started fueling the idea that the masjid is made above the temple through the Bairangs. Then in 1853, the first Hindu-Muslim war took place over Hanuman Garhi. Let's forward a little to the 1980s. Again, the Babri Masjid issue. The Hindus were getting extremely aggressive with the Ram temple. The BJP at that moment of time in 1984 had 2 seats in the Lok Sabha. And because of this Hindu wave which was going on in the country, BJP took full advantage of it.
22 दिसंबर 1949 की रात्रि में भगवान श्री राम लला अयोध्या में अपनी जन्मभूमि पर प्रकट हुए।
BJP was campaigning quite aggressively in favor of the Ram Mandir, and it was led by the then leader L.K. Advani, who had the famous dialogue, "Mandir yahi banega."
आपसे तो इतनी आशा है, बीच में मत पड़ो, रास्ते में मत आओ, क्योंकि ये जो रथ है लोक रथ है, जनता का रथ है, जो सोमनाथ से चला है और जिसने मन में संकल्प किया हुआ है कि 30 अक्टूबर को वहां पर पहुंच करके कार सेवा करेंगे और मंदिर वहीं बनाएंगे, उसको कौन रोकेगा? कौन सी सरकार रोकने वाली है?
Nowadays, LK Advani is a bit sidetracked, but that's politics, right? After the BJP exploited this Ram Mandir issue, the Lok Sabha seats in 1984, which were 2 seats, in 1989 it came to 85 seats. So this is the amount of help they got by exploiting this issue. This was the start for the BJP growing in India. If you think all this wasn't a political gimmick to exploit the Ram Mandir issue to get votes, you should listen to Pujari Lal Das from Ayodhya.
ये तो एक राजनीतिक मुद्दा है। विश्व हिंदू परिषद ने जो कार्यक्रम चलाया है, मंदिर तो बनाने के लिए कोई रोक नहीं था। फिर हमारे यहाँ ऐसा कोई विधान नहीं है कि हम भगवान को अलग हटा करके किसी जगह रखे जाएं, क्योंकि भगवान जहाँ विराजमान हमारे होते हैं हम उसको मंदिर ही मानते हैं। हमारे यहाँ हिंदू परंपरा ही है, चाहे वो किसी भी मकान में रख दिए जाएं तभी हम उसको मंदिर ही कहते हैं, क्योंकि भगवान जहाँ विराजमान है वो मंदिर ही होता है। फिर अलग से मंदिर बनाने का कोई औचित्य नहीं है। अगर अलग से भी बनाया जाता तो उस इमारत में जिसमें भगवान विराजमान हैं हम उसको तोड़ना भी नहीं चाहते हैं, और जो लोग तोड़ना चाहते हैं वो इस मुद्दे को लेकर तोड़ना चाहते हैं कि पूरे हिंदुस्तान में एक तनाव की स्थिति पैदा हो और हिंदू मत जो है हमारे पक्ष में हो। उनको ये चिंता नहीं है कि कितना बड़ा जनसंहार होगा, कितने लोग मारे जाएंगे, कितने कटेंगे, कितनी बर्बादियां होंगी, या जो मुस्लिम बाहुल क्षेत्र में हिंदू रहते हैं उनकी क्या परिस्थिति होगी। हमारे देश के सामने तमाम ऐसी समस्याएं हैं।
Pujari Lal Das was later on killed. And I would like you to watch another clip which is kind of still valid now.
महंगाई आज आसमान को छू रही है, बेकारी आज करोड़ों नवयुवकों की है, भूखमरी और गरीबी आधे से अधिक लोग आज भी उस लक्ष्मण रेखा के नीचे हैं। यहाँ पर निरक्षरता, बीमारी चारों तरफ फैली हुई है। मगर मालूम होता है पिछले कुछ महीनों से कि मानो इस देश में इनमें से एक भी समस्या ऐसी है ही नहीं। एकमात्र समस्या अगर कोई है तो वो है मंदिर और मस्जिद की।
Approximately 2,000 people were killed in these Hindu-Muslim riots when it came to the Babri Masjid issue. I would recommend you guys go and watch the movie Ram Ke Naam by Anand Patwardhan. You will get a very clear picture of how the Babri Masjid issue went. Let's come a little ahead into the Gujarat communal riots which happened in 2002. Approximately 2,000 people again over here were killed. A study was conducted on Gujarat riots by Rahil Dattiwala and Michael Biggs in Oxford University in 2012. It states that before the 2002 riots, the BJP was facing severe backlash. It faced electoral reverses in civic polls, panchayat polls and also assembly and parliamentary by-polls. After the riots, the BJP saw a jump in the vote share. In fact, the BJP vote share increased in parts where there was more violence and reduced where it was somewhat peaceful. The study further tries to prove its point by saying that the officers who were trying to control the riots weren't promoted and the ones who were fueling the riots or letting the riots go were promoted. Another study conducted in Yale University found that BJP had an increase of 0.8% vote share after every riot in the previous year. These riots lead to a lot of polarization, and since Hindu is the majority in India, significant amount of votes start shifting, giving rise to these vote shares. In the 2019 Lok Sabha election, BJP got 61% of the upper caste vote share. The RSS expected their vote bank to grow by 1.5 crores after the implementation of CAA. Religion is a very integral part of one's life, and politics knows to exploit it. The polarization and the communal divide leads to their advantage. While they enjoy being in power, we are the ones fighting on the ground. The classic divide and rule by the British. The Time magazine also had called Modi divider-in-chief. It was for this very reason. So when Modi sits to meditate, then his image also becomes of a spiritual leader, also a religious leader. So people start getting very close to him. So anything said against him is said against the religion. The attacks on minorities has increased significantly under the Modi government, which I have explained in this video. You can go and check it out. The reason it's not stopped is because it helps them. When a cow lynching had happened a few years back and around 11 people were convicted of the case and they were put in jail, out of that 8 people got bail and Jayant Sinha, a BJP minister, put garlands on them. So this is the hate and polarization which works in their favor. Even the myth Hindu Khatre Mein Hai is being peddled since many years now. So even though there is no basis to it, people still find it very personal because religion is so personal to them. The politicians just don't do it because they believe in it. They know the public and they know their majority and they know that it works in their favor. So due to this division and polarization, people no more care about inflation, no more care about cylinder price hikes, then unemployment, which I've explained in this video why we don't care. You can go and check it out. As long as you get mandir or masjid or any other communal thing, people are happy. That's about it. Thank you everyone for watching the video. See you guys in the next one.